Hello, and welcome to Career Infusion. I'm your host, Tracy Kane Lofty. Career Infusion is brought to you through the Lofty Group, which is a consulting company that focuses on organizational development and leadership development. In addition, we offer career development strategy workshops. I'm really delighted with the work that Career Infusion has done as far as helping to motivate young people. As I mentioned, the Lofty Group is the sponsor of Career Infusion, and we've offered workshops throughout the country. Most recently, we actually conducted a workshop training a board of directors, giving a strategic planning workshop. But we also offer, as I mentioned, career development workshops, and we focus on strategizing for advancing your career. Now, today we are going to rebroadcast one of our earlier segments. It's actually one of the first segments and was the most popular, most watched from the audience, from our viewers. And so I want to take this time to thank our viewers for following Career Infusion and to also thank individuals who have worked with us through the Lofty Group. The session today will focus on moving forward with your career, advancing your career, basically providing career tips following college graduation. Please watch. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to Career Infusion. Today is our premiere show, and I'm very excited to serve as the host of Career Infusion. This show is brought to you by my consulting company, the Lofty Group. And the Lofty Group focuses on career and professional development, also organizational leadership. Our show for today really focuses on the young professional. Those who are graduating from high school, graduating from college, or just preparing to enter the workforce. We have a couple of different segments during this one particular presentation of Career Infusion. First is the interview with Ms. Tyann Morris. Tyann Morris has more than 25 years of experience in human resources. She has a master's degree in human resource management and also a master of interdisciplinary studies of management. And she is also certified as a senior professional human resource specialist. So we will discuss with Ms. Morris again, basically what the job force is looking for. And then the other segment, the other part of our show today, will have a fashion show with college students. Nice. And then we'll also interview a couple of college students, one who attends the University of Maryland, the other who attends Virginia State, and they will discuss college life. Thank you, Ms. Morris, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it, Tracy.
Okay, thank you. One thing I want to mention, too, is that Tyann is a part of the Lofty Group, and she serves as one of our subject matter experts, particularly with regards to the career development strategies and the resume writing techniques. So, Tyann, tell us a little bit about your role as a human resource specialist.
Sure. As you mentioned earlier, I do have my SPHR, and I've had that probably for over about 15 years. I also work in the government as a talent acquisition branch manager, so I have the opportunity to not only attract, but also retain the talent, and it is a rewarding opportunity.
Okay. What would you say right now are the most sought after skills?
I would say at this point, definitely leadership, and that leadership can be gained whether a person is a part of a team sport, if the person is involved in another group or activity. So leadership goes a long way. Also, being an effective member on a team, a lot of projects I would say are team oriented, and having exceptional customer service skills, because that's needed in any capacity, as well as the technical savvy, because as you do know, a lot of functions and things of that nature are definitely digital, technical, so having the technical expertise is really important.
So someone, a recent graduate, should definitely have on their resume the leadership activities they've participated in?
Absolutely, as well as any volunteer work, whether it's working in a soup kitchen or helping out in the community, that also goes a long way to show that that person is holistically rounded. So that goes a long way as well.
Okay. And right now, the job force is just so competitive. And I'm hearing from a lot of people how it's easier to get a job when you have a job. And so for our high school students graduating and college students graduating, and again, those just trying to get out in the workforce, let's say they've only had a part-time job. What skill set can they highlight on their resume that's going to really make them stand out, since if they've only held a part-time job?
Well, there's a number of things that they can do. Depending on the position, they can show how their skill sets align with the position. And also, it's also worthy to note any internships, whether paid or unpaid, that's important to put on the resume as well, so that the person can show that they do have the skill sets and they've been using them.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I get a lot of young people asking me about internships. And so some people really just do not want to do the internships that are not paid. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I can understand that, but some of the experience and the expertise that will be taught during the internship, I definitely would say are, valuable expertise. But there are opportunities where they can do paid, unpaid for half of the summer, et cetera. But you have to get a start on it early. And when I mean early, October, November timeframe.
So for individuals who are currently employed, would you suggest that they participate maybe in organizations and volunteer that way? What would you recommend to the individual who is employed? Because they're not going to be able to more than likely do an internship.
Yes, I would definitely recommend any volunteer or part-time activities that they can do to show that they also are gaining the expertise and they're honing the current skills that they have. So I do understand that that's really hard to do, but I do recommend doing that.
Okay. Right now, everyone is really trying to get a job. Those who are graduating in May, they're like, okay, let me get my resume out there. What tips do you have for the individual who is in the process now of interviewing? What interview tips do you have for them?
Well, I would say at first, the cover letter as well as a resume, making sure that it's error-free. Because that is the first impression that the employer will see when it comes to the person's overall candidacy. So making sure it's error-free, that's really important. That goes a long way. And also any references, letter of accomplishments, those things really help when it comes to the cover letter as well as the resume. And also I recommend not having a generic cover letter, but also having one where that position aligns with their resume and that it's personalized, where it's to the employer, it has the employer's address, all of the information as long as you have it. I think that's really important. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to interviewing, do some role playing with someone and make sure that you're telling your story so it comes across as being natural and it's not where it seems as if the person has memorized it, but for there to be a dialogue and a discussion. Mm-hmm. That's really, really important.
Okay. And I've often told students to have perhaps 3 resumes. And so one resume may be geared towards, let's say, if you're trying to, this is just an example, let's say you're seeking a position within an academic institution. So maybe that resume is you have more of a spin on it with the academic related activities that you've done. And perhaps the other resume, you're trying to get a position within an association. So I've always said at least have like 3 different resumes. So I'm hearing, though, you say that you should have a targeted resume for the specific job, and it should be customized really for that particular job.
Yes, absolutely, because naturally on a resume, you cannot put everything that you've ever done. And so that's why it's really important to make sure that your resume aligns with the position so that they can definitely easily be able to see that you do have the expertise in what they're looking for and you actually qualify for the position. Mm-hmm. So that's really good advice that you've given.
Okay. And do you suggest that the length of the resume be limited? Of course, for those early career people, the resume isn't going to be that long. Individuals who have 20 years of experience, the resume probably, if it's someone pursuing an academic type of position, they're going to list all of the articles they've written and probably every presentation they've ever given. But do you suggest that students limit their resume to 2 pages, 3 pages? What do you suggest?
Well, it really depends. If the student is actually applying for a government position, then that resume will be longer. But if they're applying for a position in the private sector, I would definitely say 2 pages, 3 max. So it depends on what type of position the student is actually applying for.
Okay. And then you also suggested that students role play.
Yes.
I always tell young people, think about all the questions you could possibly be asked, and that you want to always have a positive answer. So even when, the person interviewing you may ask, well, what's the worst case situation you've ever been in and how did you respond? That you always want to put a positive spin on that. What other tips would you have for those individuals preparing for an interview?
Not only, and that's really good advice that you've given, but also be thinking of when you're depending on the position, also be thinking of some really good questions, making sure they've done some research on the company or the employer, looking at the annual report, because a lot of that information is on the website. It's definitely available. And also follow up. During the interview, one of the questions can be asked, what are the next steps? When will I hear back? But sending that thank you email, that goes a long way. And that's also the opportunity where the person can summarize their expertise and how they actually are a good match for the position.
Yes. So Tyann mentioned looking at the website. It is essential that you visit the website of any company you plan to interview with. So you want to know the mission of the organization. And believe it or not, I've actually interviewed people before when I've asked, do you know what we do? And they don't know what we do. So you've pretty much, you've pretty much put yourself in last place when you don't know what the organization does. So definitely review the website. If there is an annual report on that website, take a look at it. Ask questions. Even if you know the answer, definitely ask those questions.
And also, Tracy, I would like to add, know what the values are, and as you stated, the mission and the vision, because why do you want to come there to work? So that's really important to have and know that information.
Okay, very good. And would you say that education is just as important as experience?
I would say that it is. And for a number of positions, for example, IT positions, a lot of times they start off wanting a bachelor's degree as well as the various licenses, certifications, etc. So I would definitely say it's very important.
Okay. And now Tyann just mentioned certification. So I am a big proponent of certification as I've run several certification programs. So I always tell people starting their career, work a couple of years, figure out what it is that you want to do, and then become certified. Work towards, do some background actually first, and find out what the criteria is to become certified, and then just work towards meeting those requirements.
I totally agree with that, because you do want to be a subject matter expert, and you want to show that you have went the extra mile and went above and beyond, and that you do have your license or certification. So that's really important.
Right. And certification sometimes can be an alternative to graduate school.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you can do both, that's great. But many people, financial reasons, time-wise, time limitations, cannot go on to pursue graduate school. So definitely become certified, and you're certified in human resources. I am certified to run certification programs, believe it or not. And I've completed a certificate program through the School of Business Management with George Washington University. So even with certificate programs, which are different than certification programs, certificate programs are just as important and also are an alternative to pursuing an advanced degree.
Absolutely.
So there are some careers, though, where perhaps you have to provide a video of what it is that you actually do, or people just want to see the artwork that you've had, and in those instances, a portfolio
Yes.
is required. Tyann, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, and that goes a long way because when you think about it, anyone can put on paper what they can do, but being able to see it, there are some positions, if you're going to be a trainer, they would like to see a segment of you actually teaching a class. And so having that and making sure there's a professional image and that it's perfect and honed to what you do is really important, because not only will the person see on paper, but they'll also be able to actually see you in action. So that goes a long way.
Okay, very good. So, Tyann, what words of wisdom do you have for graduating seniors, whether it be high school or college?
Everything that you do matters. It's really important to make sure that, one, keep track of everything that you've done, because over time, believe it or not, I have letters going back to the 90s. I won't date myself. But nevertheless, it's really good to keep together everything that tells your story and makes you who you are, so that when the time comes, whether it's references and staying in contact with those individuals, because you can lose track of people, but if you have those letters, it goes a long way. So making sure you have everything, and that at any opportunity, you could be interviewing for your next job or your next opportunity. You just never know.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Tyann.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much. And we'll be actually working on several projects together regarding career advancement. Right now, we are going to take about a 3-minute break or so. We're going to follow up with a short fashion show, followed by a discussion with current college students. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Hello, and welcome back to Career Infusion. For this particular part of the show, we are going to have a very, very brief fashion show by current college students. First, we have Cindy, and we need the music playing. So, Cindy has on a very, very nice business casual outfit. And actually, it can be worn for a regular business day or even to a meeting. I like that she has the blazer to match the pants. And I would suggest for any type of form-fitting pants that you do wear a blazer with it. And you also want to make sure you check with the policies of the organization that you work with. While these are not leggings, these are basically skinnies, but I know for a lot of organizations, leggings may not be acceptable unless you have a blazer on with it, and that would more than likely be on Casual Friday. But the skinnies are a perfect match, and the loose flowing blouse really accentuates that, and I give this actually 5 stars. So Cindy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Cindy, and I'm currently a sophomore at University of Maryland studying public health on a pre-optometry pathway. I'm also in an Asian interest sorority on campus called Sigma Psi Zeta. My main goal is to graduate University of Maryland and go to optometry school and hopefully open my own optometry clinic.
Very good. Thank you, Cindy. Next, we have Alexandra. Alexandra is wearing a printed dress, and this dress is very appropriate for the office. What I like about this dress is that you can really dress it up or dress it down, and a lot of times for business functions, there may be an event afterwards, such as a reception you have to attend or a banquet, and this would be very appropriate to wear to the office and then follow up to an event after the office. So, Alexandra, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Alexandra, and I'm also a sophomore studying computer science at the University of Maryland. I am a member of the Ladies of Computer Science and also a member of the Association of Women in Computer Science, which both hope to encourage more women to join computer sciences. It is such a male-dominated field, and so I'm proud to be a part of that.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Asia. Asia is wearing a pantsuit, which is very much appropriate for the office. And again, you can dress this up or dress it down. This is really, the color is perfect in that it is actually a year-round color. And this, if you have a more formal event to attend, you could wear this outfit as well and perhaps have accented with different types of jewelry to really give it the pop. But as it is now, it really is appropriate for the business office. And this would also be acceptable for an interview as well. And a lot of times I'm asked if females in particular should wear a dress suit. That isn't necessary. A pantsuit is sufficient as well. And so this would be acceptable for that as well. Asia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Asia. I'm a sophomore at University of Maryland College Park, and my major is biological sciences on a pre-med track, and I hope to become a pediatrician. As well as my hope to become a pediatrician, my passion is public policy and giving back to impoverished communities.
Thank you, Asia. These young ladies really have a bright future ahead of them, and I am so very, very honored that they could join us today. Now, we actually were going to have a young gentleman to join us, but unfortunately was stuck in traffic, so he could not make it here on time. However, with the gentleman, with the male's attire, you can, again, have different outfits. You can have whether it's just khakis and a navy blue blazer or even a dress suit. For an interview, though, I do suggest that you wear a suit and you want to make sure that it's a basic type of suit, so nothing with heavy pinstripes or too baggy, just a very nice fitted suit. And that goes for anyone who is interviewing for a position. You don't want to be too too loud or anything that draws too much attention. And so the suits that you saw today with Asia and Cindy, those are appropriate. Asia's suit in particular for the interview. So if you have any questions or if you are seeking executive coaching, I really encourage you to contact the Lofty Group, and that is www.theloftygroup.com. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back to Career Infusion. For this last half of the show, we are going to interview college students and hear more about the college life. So we have Alyn, who is a senior attending Virginia State University, and she's been accepted to attend graduate school at William & Mary in the fall. And we also have Asia, who is a sophomore at the University of Maryland, College Park. Alyn, you are about to graduate from Virginia State, which is a historically black college. How do you feel that you've benefited by attending an HBCU?
Thank you for that question. Yes, I feel as though I benefited in many ways from attending an HBCU at the illustrious Virginia State University. I feel as though by attending an institution that was built to empower and promote excellence for Black Americans, I feel like I've learned a lot about not just about myself, but as the culture and history of an HBCU and the Black culture.
Do you feel that's given you almost like a type of family support?
It has. I feel as though I have gained another family at VSU by being around people who understand where I have been and also the struggles I've gone through as a young Black woman, and also have guided me and nurtured me through the 4 years at VSU.
Now, do you feel that once you graduate that you'll be able to have these individuals as resources, your classmates and all, and the professors as resources after you graduate?
Very much. I have developed a very strong bonding connection with my professors and my advisors, and I have made sure to keep that connection going after I finish college and on to my career choice in life.
So I'm sure that you applied to more than one school for college. What was it that made you select Virginia State?
I selected Virginia State because the moment that I stepped foot on that campus, I felt a sense of family connection. I felt that familiar sense that I didn't feel it at the other universities. And I wanted to be at a place that I can consider home away from home.
And what types of organizations have you participated in?
Well, I am an active member in the National Society of Leadership and Success. It is an organization to help promote success and leadership throughout all students on the campus. I am also an active member of the NAACP chapter of VSU, as well as a member of the National Society of Historians.
Okay. Now, you told me how you've been accepted into graduate school. Could you tell us a little bit about the application for graduate school?
So the application process for graduate school is a little bit more strenuous than undergrad schools. It considers an amount of time of research and understanding which schools to go to further advance your career field.
Were you looking for a school that was like really recognized for the major you plan to pursue, or what?
Yes, I was looking for a university that was well known in education and that could help give me skills to become a better educator in the future.
Do you suggest that students live on campus? And this is both for grad and undergrad. Of course, you're not in graduate school quite yet, but do you recommend that students live on campus?
I would say if you are a student, whether grad or undergrad, and you feel that you are unfamiliar with the area, I would recommend you live on campus for maybe a semester to try to get used to the area and maybe have that dorm bonding with another person, that on-campus living experience. That's what I would recommend.
Okay. Looking back, now that you're going to graduate within a few weeks, if you could do something differently, what would it be and why?
I could do anything differently. I would probably have moved closer to the CAF on campus.
To the CAF?
The cafeteria, yes. Only because as a freshman and a sophomore, you were hungry a lot, and making that walk to the CAF was very hard. So that's the one thing that I would change.
Okay, all righty. And I have a son who is he is a freshman in college, and he probably would agree with you on having a cafeteria closer by. Okay, thank you, Alin.
Thank you.
So, Asia, you are from a very small town. Asia is actually from my hometown of Pocomoke City, Maryland, which is on the lower eastern shore of Maryland. What has it been like for you going from a small town and attending a university with more than 30,000 students?
At first, just hearing that distinction, 30,000 students versus 95 kids in my graduating class, was just kind of intimidating. But once I got on campus, it was such a blessing just being able to have two different environments. And it's been really helpful for me as a person to grow and not just have that small town mentality, but also learn a lot in the big city.
So really, your first month in school, I'm sure that was some type of adjustment. And I can recall graduating from Pocomoke High School, and I also attended University of Maryland College Park, and it was a big transition, a little bit intimidating. But with that first month, what would you say that you learned to do differently, or what was it that you had to do to connect with other students?
For sure was going and joining organizations. Even if you didn't think that organization maybe was like a fit for you, you just never know who you can network and meet. And like out of some of those organizations, I made some great friendships, not only with students, but as well as professors too.
Mm-hmm. So you would suggest that students join organizations.
Yes.
And so note here that school is more than just about going to class. It's so important that you join organizations and that you really network with your classmates and network with professors. And these are people who are going to be with you throughout your entire life, really. So again, I'll ask you this one of the same questions that I asked Alin. A lot of students I know at Maryland commute, but I recommend that people live on campus to be fully engaged. What has your experience been like living on campus, and would you suggest that other students live on campus as well?
It has been such a rewarding experience. I would definitely recommend people to live on campus. So just you won't miss out on a lot of, like I said, organization events, as well as, during exam week, you're up until 3 a.m. studying for exams at McKeldin Library. So it's kind of hard to commute back and forth at 3 and 4 a.m. So I would definitely say to stay on campus. It's one of the best experiences of my entire life. And I'm the only child, so being on campus, I became more independent. Even though I still talk to my family every day, I've just learned to become more of an independent woman, and it's like steered me in the right direction. It really has.
Well, you mentioned about staying up until 2 o'clock a.m. So what suggestions do you have to encourage students to stay focused?
For staying focused, definitely surround yourself with motivated people. My roommates and I, we go to the library together. I'm not by myself. We're all there doing work. We're all there like getting a common goal done, which is like studying, making sure we get an A or B on our exams. Also, just talk to other people in your major. Sometimes you might be scared to, just because if you don't know them, but everyone is kind of in the same boat. Everyone is trying to get that degree in 4 years. So just make sure you connect with people.
Well, you were one of the top students from your high school. Looking back with your high school experience, is there anything in high school that you would have done differently or focused more on to prepare you for college?
I definitely would have focused on looking for colleges more. I feel like I always knew I wanted to go to college, but it wasn't until my senior year that I actually looked into colleges. And I love Maryland, I really do, but once you get into college, you're just like, what about this college, or what about that college? But like I said, Maryland has been like one of the best experiences for me, but I think for sure, coming from a small town, I definitely think we need more people that have been in college and been through the process to kind of help us more.
And with the number of classes that you are taking, for the freshman year, do you suggest taking the minimum amount of credits?
I definitely say take, not the maximum or not the minimum, but somewhere in the middle, about 14 or 15 credits, I suggest. Especially if, like for me, as I was telling you earlier, my major is biology, but my passion is public policy, which I am going to take a minor in. So you can take your major classes your freshman year, but sometimes by the time you get to sophomore or junior year, you have maybe changed your mind to add something else, and it just won't be a lot of hard work on you trying to up those credits.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you are a sophomore now.
Yes.
So, and we discussed a little bit about joining organizations, but how are you preparing now for the workforce? You have a couple of more years to go after this, but of course you have to prepare early. So what are you doing in addition to taking your classes?
In addition to taking my classes, I am for sure going to a lot of network events just to connect with people in the communities in DC, connect with my professors and mentors. I talk to a lot of pediatricians, which I want to be. I went to a pre-health and pre-med advising networking committee, and I just talked to a lot of them, and they can help you. Some of the organizations, nonprofit organizations I didn't know about, one of the pediatricians was telling me, and I emailed him, and he helped me with just getting involved in that. So just like networking, and not only for the business aspect, for the social as well.
Okay. Looking back on your high school experience and the 2 years under your belt, what words of wisdom can you give to our high school students right now?
For sure, go follow your passion because the job that you're going to have for the next 30, 40 years of your life, that's going to be your job. So don't go after something that's just for the money or what your family or what your friends want to do, but something that you're passionate about, as well as maybe be the first person to do something for your family and for your community. A lot of the times, especially coming from a small community, you don't think maybe I can become this or I can become that, but be the first person. Take the initiative and take the first step. Even if you may think it sounds like a faraway idea, far-off idea, go and do it because you can just be the first one to help someone else.
Very good, very good. And I want to encourage all of the young people who are on the fence about whether or not to go on to college or not. Talk with your guidance counselor. Don't wait for the guidance counselor to approach you. Talk with your guidance counselor. Find out what scholarships are available. Go online. Google or look into the schools that you're interested in, find out what the deadlines are, find out what scholarships are available, and then you also want to see about federal funding. I believe it's January 1st with the federal funding, with the applications that become available, and you want to look at the deadlines for scholarships. I really encourage you, and don't be intimidated if you are the first person to go to school because, everyone has had to start from somewhere. So hopefully today you've taken into consideration the tips from Tyann Morris regarding the interview tips and that you've listened to the two young ladies, Alin and Asia, and heard about their wonderful experience and what Career Infusion is all about. It's about empowerment. It's about empowering you, and we want you to be passionate about whatever your career goal. And Asia mentioned, she actually used the word that I use a lot, and that is passionate. You have to be passionate about what it is that you do to be great, to excel. And so we don't want it to be that you're going to work every day, 9 to 5, hating your job. We want you to find your passion. So continue to watch Career Infusion. If you are interested in having me or one of my colleagues from the Lofty Group to come and present to your organization, please contact me, and you can go to theloftygroup.com. Thank you very much. Hello, and welcome to Career Infusion. Today is our premiere show, and I'm very excited to serve as the host of Career Infusion. The show is brought to you by my consulting company, the Lofty Group. And the Lofty Group focuses on career and professional development, also organizational leadership. Our show for today really focuses on the young professional. those who are graduating from high school, graduating from college, or just preparing to enter the workforce. We have a couple of different segments during this one particular presentation of Career Infusion. First is the interview with Ms. Tyann Morris. Tyann Morris has more than 25 years of experience in human resources. She has a master's degree in human resource management and also a master of interdisciplinary studies of management. And she is also certified as a senior professional human resource specialist. So we will discuss with Ms. Morris again, basically what the job force is looking for. And then the other segment, the other part of our show today, will have a fashion show with college students. Nice. And then we'll also interview a couple of college students, one who attends the University of Maryland, the other who attends Virginia State, and they will discuss college life. Thank you, Ms. Morris, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it, Tracy.
Okay, thank you. One thing I want to mention, too, is that Tyann is a part of the Lofty Group, and she serves as one of our subject matter experts, particularly with regards to the career development strategies and the resume writing techniques. So, Tyann, tell us a little bit about your role as a human resource specialist.
Sure. As you mentioned earlier, I do have my SPHR, and I've had that probably for over about 15 years. I also work in the government as a talent acquisition branch manager, so I have the opportunity to not only attract but also retain the talent, and it is a rewarding opportunity.
Okay. What would you say right now are the most sought after skills?
I would say at this point, definitely leadership, and that leadership can be gained whether